I'll start off by saying, you know, we beat a well-coached, talented team tonight. I thought they played some terrific basketball throughout the night. I had watched them on tape, and tape didn't do them justice, to be quite frank. And that's rare for me when I see a team and we studying them. They were even better than what I saw, and I had a healthy respect for them going into the game based on how they had played thus far in the preseason. And they do a great job. They know who they are. All of them know their roles. They're very confident. They execute well. And I'm just really proud of our guys for, showing some resilience again in the second half and making the plays we needed to make in order to secure a victory.
And you said you knew Quinnipiac was a good team coming in to just be a pit. What happened in the first half, though, was they were just making shots where some of the defensive effort not what you wanted to see, and what changed for you in the second half to allow you to come back and win?
Well, I think it was a combination. You make a great point. Some of it was, they're good players. They made plays, they made shots. We had the player of the year in their conference over there. How many times does the player of the year in the conference stay, at a smaller conference without moving? So that says a lot about the coaching staff and what he thinks about Quinnipiac. For him to stay loyal to the program, and I'm sure a lot of people probably was trying to get him out of there. So it just says a lot about their program and their culture. Then you have the fact that we did have some defensive lapses. We had some missteps defensively where we didn't communicate well, left guys open. I don't think we understood exactly, how, potent they are offensively, individually and collectively. And I think we got lulled into, realizing that later in the second half. We're like, okay, these guys can really, really score the basketball. You're going to have to dig in defensively. But when that happened, I thought our guys did respond and they dug in and we got some stops that we needed in order to get some momentum.
Coach, to kind of follow up on that, we spoken earlier this season, said the guys need to emphasize not trading blows offensively. They need to score and then play defense as well. What did you see the difference in the second half holding Quinnipiac to 39 points?
Well, I thought we did a much better job of getting stops. It boils down to that every time, stops and rebounds. And I thought we did a much better job of digging in, getting stops, and then not giving them second and third shot attempts. And that's something that we have to be, really good at. At the end of the day, you're going to win on your defense. And we didn't always play stellar defense throughout the game, but as you mentioned, in the second half, I thought our defense was at its best. We did change our defenses up some. We mixed it up some and, gave some different looks. We'll do that from time to time. And I thought that was somewhat effective for us during the stretch where we were making a run as well.
During a situation like in the second half, you guys held them to 1 of 16 field goals at some point throughout the half. What is going through, what do you instill defensively? Do you kind of try to keep switching it up, or do you want to focus on attacking since they were struggling to score?
Well, we wanted to continue to play the same defense that helped us gain that momentum. Thought it was working for us, so we stayed with it for a while. And I thought our guys did a really good job, and it's something that we hadn't done a lot this year. It's something that we've always had in our program. But we really haven't, resorted to it a lot this season. But this team right here, based on how they were playing in the first half of 52 points, we knew that we were going to resort to going back to our zone and our different defenses in order to kind of maybe get them a little bit more out of rhythm.
Coach, you had Jeremy Fomeno lead you guys in scoring tonight with 18. He had 17 points coming into this game all season. Just what were you seeing differently from him tonight?
I thought he was asserting himself. His energy and effort was great. I thought he gave great energy. His effort was amazing. And he's been improving. You watch him every day in practice and in the games when they get their opportunity. You can see these young guys, starting to figure things out. And we need everybody. Tonight, I thought it was our bigs who really, Biggs and Chris Johnson who really impacted the second half. And those guys, they were outstanding for us. But they wouldn't do that if they didn't know that we believed in them and they weren't ready for the opportunities by how they practice and how they prepare. And that's why I'm proud of them, because all of them practiced very hard. They were prepared for the opportunity, and they made the most out of it. And that's what you want to see with a team.
Those guys anchored a bench performance of like double that Quinnipiac got. I know you talked about depth before in Daytona Beach. Just what were you end up seeing with that tonight?
Our depth showed up again. No matter what, I thought whether it was Chris Johnson and Jeremy in the first half, or it was Jeremy and Chris Johnson in the second half, Chris Parker in the first half, I thought those guys off the bench all gave us something. They came in, they gave us huge lifts, whether it was defensive plays they made, rebounds, and of course scoring the basketball. So, I think when you want to build a team, you want to build a team with depth. That's what we always talk about, our strength being in our numbers. And it showed, I think, today. We look at some of the contributions by guys on our team that aren't normally in those roles.
With the emphasis you have on defense, what do you think leads to the lulls that you mentioned?
Well, that's what we're still trying to work out with our guys, the understanding. I think part of it is just an understanding of how important every defensive possession is. And I start there. I start there with the understanding that every single one you have to be totally locked in and focused on. And I think at times we've kind of, we float a little bit in and out of that. And that's something that we have to get better at. But I think partly they're learning a new system too. I mean, these guys, maybe that's not what they had to do for the last 3 or 4 years where they were. And so now, we do something different than other teams do. Maybe we have a heavier emphasis on that. And so I think as we continue to build, I think they'll continue to get better at it because I think it means something to them. They realize that we haven't been able to sustain it to the level we need to. It's just a function of getting over that hump and understanding what it is. And I don't think we will until we have a night where it actually comes together for us. And I can use that as a reference, like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Right now I can only use moments, these 20 minutes or these 15 minutes. Once we have a game where they understand, okay, this is what is required for a full 40 minutes. And but the good thing about it is I know they care, I know they want to do it. We just have to help them get there. And like I said, any new team, a lot of new personnel, some of these guys maybe weren't required to do those things. Maybe they need them for scoring more, so that's not something they wanted to emphasize as much because they need them out there to score the basketball. Well, we need them out there to do both in the way we play and at our level, and that's something that we have to get them to.
Coach, you guys shot the ball, you got shots up, you actually went over 100, 102 to 91 in the final. Just talk about the scoring in the second half and the separation from that ball club.
Well, I thought we did a really good job of executing almost all through the night. I mean, it was just, like I said, trading blows, I guess was put it in. That's how it felt, back and forth throughout the first half. And then I thought the second half, I thought we continued to score the ball pretty well, but our defense was better. I thought the guys are really connecting, they're executing well. I think it always shows up in our assist to turnover ratio, and I think we have 18 assists to 10 turnovers. And that's a good night for us. That means we're moving the basketball, we're sharing it, and I thought we could have done better. And so, but I'm proud of our guys for understanding to play unselfish, to try to make each other better on the floor, and that's something that we have to continue to build on as well.
Folks had 13 of those assists, only 3 turnovers, and the way he drives and able to dish it out to get some easy baskets for his teammates. Just talk about his passing game. It seems he's getting more comfortable each game and gives his guys quality, high percentage shots.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's a terrific little point guard. He can make guys better. He's a capable scorer. I think you've seen a lot of that in the last 2 or 3 games. He's had 18. He's also had 13 assists in the game. So he's also had 6 rebounds in games. So he's just a winner. He just finds ways to make plays to help your team win, and I think he did again tonight. Tonight his scoring wasn't needed as much. He had guys around him scoring the basketball, and he was a lead facilitator. And so as he continues to learn our system, I think he's only going to continue to get better as well.
Coach, we talked earlier in the season about the turnover, and in this game you had a season low. How nice was it to see the turnovers tonight?
You don't know how happy that makes me. Anytime we get a season low on turnovers, that's important because that's something we emphasize a lot, the ability to take care of the basketball. And tonight we did a pretty good job of that. I'm never going to be satisfied because I see 10. That means I'm never satisfied. But I thought we did a good job of taking care of it. That's something, like I said, that we've tried to preach to our players, the importance of valuing every possession. And that's part of valuing the possession is taking care of the basketball. So happy that our number was pretty low and the lowest number we've had this season.
Coach, Jeremy dunked the basketball. It popped up. Looked like he could score twice on that play. Have you ever seen that with Big Dave or in Philly or at Duke or anywhere in basketball?
I'm sure I've seen guys where the ball has been dunked and it didn't go all the way through, whether the net or it got tangled up and it popped back out. For sure I've seen that play. But it has to go all the way through and it didn't go through. So when he got it back, automatically it's going to be an illegal play for us because he had already held on the rim and snapped the rim down. And so when he got it back, I knew that it was going to end up being their ball. But I wanted to know if it had gotten through enough where it was a counted bucket, and it just wasn't. So I didn't want to challenge it.
Johnny, I asked the players this earlier. What does it say about this team? You guys have been challenged at times throughout the early part of the season, whether it's in the second half or first half of this game, for instance. What does it say about this team to be able to rise up and kind of answer that challenge for you and be able to kind of move forward and have some success?
Well, I think I said it earlier. I think, they definitely have shown resilience. I mean, they compete, whether we're up or down. I never worry about our competitive effort. And that's something that you want to see in a team, especially for, like I said, a team that's just coming together. We're, 6, 7 games in now. And so for a team like that to see, where they are and can see kind of their potential, based on what we've been able to do. I think our guys have a huge upside. I think as we continue to learn each other, we continue to learn, our overall system, both offensively and defensively, I see a lot of room for growth in this group.
Coach, Quinnipiac was favored to win the MAC. They also had their preseason player of the year, managed to hold them there just 5 of 15 from the floor, even fouled them out, and a couple of other great players on that team. Just what did you like about how the team responded to what Quinnipiac was able to do?
I was proud. I know the young man, Monroe, is a talented player. I mean, anytime you get a player of the year returning these days back to your university is a big deal. And so it says a lot about their culture, as I said before, and what they do over there with their staff. Because he's a terrific player. And scouting him, I was so impressed with the way he plays, the way he carries himself on the court. He's a tough young man to cover. And same thing with Zimmerman. I'd seen both of them. A lot of tape on them, and I was very impressed with how they approached the game. Their level of aggressiveness, they're really good. And Monroe has a chance to play professionally. Based on what I was seeing, watching tape on him.
What as far as drawing fouls and stuff on both ends?
Oh, they're really good. They're very physical players. They play a physical brand of basketball. They both can go off the bounce and create their own shot. It's one thing to catch and shoot, but and they can do that as well. But the ability to be able to go off the bounce and make plays for yourself and others is what separates, I think, both of those guys.
Couple more. Coach Quinnipiac had 8 blocks in this one, but majority of them came in the first half and the early second half. Would you say it was more of an emphasis to finish stronger at the rim as we saw more dunks and more attacking later on?
Definitely. We thought, we weren't going up as strong as we needed to, and we weren't, utilizing shot fakes and things of that nature to get them off balance. We were very predictable with our moves around the basket. And those guys are all, good athletes. And so if you're going to be predictable, they can time what you're going to do and they can make plays on the ball. And that's what they did time and time again, especially in the first half. But we started to learn some things, as the game went on, and we started to be more efficient around the basket.
Coach Jeremy Farmina, I know you recruited him several years ago coming out of high school. I mean, how big was it to have a breakout like he had tonight? How big would that be if he could continue to put forth these kind of performances going forward?
That'd be huge for us. I mean, as each individual player on our team gets better, we get better. And so to see our bigs, especially Jeremy, the way he played tonight in the second half, especially when we were down, and he helped. He and Chris Johnson were 2 guys that helped key that run that we had. And so I was really, really happy for him because how hard he's working. He wants to be a really good player, and he has a chance to be terrific. It's just a function of continuing to work, continuing to believe in himself. And, obviously we believe in him or he wouldn't be playing. So I'm happy for him, and hopefully he can continue to build on it.
Last one.
Coach, one last question. With Thanksgiving coming up, what are you most thankful for this year?
I'm always thankful for my family. I'm always thankful for my team. Those are two parties that are very, very important to me in my life. And so I've been blessed. I've been blessed to do this for a long time, and I've been blessed to have a beautiful family. And so those are things I'm very, very thankful for at all times. And for everyone else, also, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving day and weekend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.